You feel that? That nip in the air. The sniffles are starting. Winter is definitely on the way, folks. At this time of the year, I don't muck around. I fire up with Nature Bee's Power Pollen. It is packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, everything your body's screaming out for when that temperature drops. It's helped me stay sharp, healthy, and it helps me fight off that sluggish winter slump. It has been doing that for 20 years. And right now, you can grab a 6-month supply of Nature Bee's Power Pollen for $160. Plus, they're throwing in a bonus month and 2 bars of that famous pollen and honey soap. So before winter knocks on your door, click on the link in the description and get your supply of Power Pollen Nature Bee. Money back guarantee. Big thanks to Nature Bee for powering another episode of Bonafide. Righto, before we get stuck into today's yarn, let me ask you this. Ever been lying in bed late at night and you hear that dreaded skitter-scatter in the walls? You know it's rats or mice having a party. And you're not invited. Well, that's where Pestrol comes in. Their new rodent-free Max is the non-fuss, plug it in and forget it kind of solution. No poisons, no traps, just solid Aussie tech that keeps pests out of your home. Trusted for over 20 years, Pestrol's got your back. Buy the Pestrol rodent-free Max today and also receive the in-car rodent repeller absolutely free. Valued at $50, free of charge. It's a limited time offer, but you must use the code word BONA, B-O-N-A. Time to get behind the wheel of either a bonneted or non-bonneted truck. I'm not sure. I think we're talking non-bonneted today with Rocket Rod Hannafy. Good morning to you, brother.
Good morning, mate. A COE, cab over engine.
Cab over engine. And we've discussed all that. You'd rather have a bonneted truck. Most truckies would. They ride better, they're safer, and if they need repairing, you can stay in the truck cabin while the mechanic weaves his magic, correct?
Correct.
And you've got a big engine there protecting your legs.
Been some terrible crashes. I see one the other day. A bloke was in a cab over and the load moved forward, came straight through, so that wasn't a good outcome for him.
Tell us about that. I read about that.
Yeah, look, from what I saw, there was 2 or 3 trucks crashed together, and the second one went into the rear of the first, and whilst the truck obviously stopped when it impacted the truck in front, the load did not. The load moved forward on the trailer, impacted the back of the cab and squashed it, and I believe that was the driver that died. There's some horrific photos you might see from overseas, Luke, of things like that where the cabin, particularly where you've got a small cab, mine's a big cab, so it's got a little bit more room in it, but where you've got just the bunk and that at the front, or even those without a bunk at all, and you've virtually got just the driving space, there's not a lot there to squash. And if the load's not properly secured and you come to a sudden halt, yes, bits of steel and things like that have gone through the back of cabs, and not a very good outcome.
Terrible stuff. So have we got to address the way these trucks are designed then?
Look, in America, I'm sure I said to you, mate, at one stage, JB Hunt is a very large company over there. And when we talk about large companies in Australia, you talk about Linfox and Finnemores and people that have 300 and 400 trucks. In America, if you've got 300 or 400 trucks, you're a family company. We're talking over there about trucks, companies that have 5,000 and 10,000 trucks across the whole of America. And JB Hunt was going to order 1,000 cab overs, and their drivers said, well, if you order them, we won't be driving them. So they cancelled it and they went and ordered bonneted trucks for the reasons we've discussed. There are a few cab overs running in America. There's the few odd ones around. There's some old ones that have been done up, but generally, because their length laws there apply only to the trailer, whereas ours in Australia apply to the whole combination, the truck and the trailer, they can have virtually a house on the back with a shower and a lounge room, and most states in America allow that. There's a couple that are a little bit more restrictive, but they have bonneted trucks. They are more comfortable. They don't rely so much on the truck stops, and we're having that problem here where the facilities there are disappearing and the food's not there. But yes, the drivers had enough power there to do it, but we can't here because of our length laws. And we've asked, mate, we've said, why can't we follow that American thing? We follow a lot of things from America. Why not that one? But the authorities have said no, they'll get too big and you won't get round the corner. And I think it's a fight we're still going to have for many years.
Rod, the topic of electric trucks and hydrogen-powered trucks continues. If this technology improves and it actually works, will that mean you'll be able to go further distances without having to fuel up? And will that make trucking and transportation more efficient?
No, it won't. At the current rate, that cars are generally, let's say, 400 to 500 kilometres on their batteries. That's my understanding, and we hope that will increase over time. But the car is generally heavier than normal. So let's say it's 2 tonne, just for a simple ease of operation. Now, a prime mover at the moment weighs 12. Then you go and put a couple of tonne of batteries in it. There's 14. They are already going to allow heavier weights for electric trucks. But if I'm in a normal truck, I can't drive at that weight. They're going to knock me off and fine me severely, but they're going to let heavier trucks do that. And it's the weight of the truck on the road. And the more of them there are, the more impact there is on the road.
Yeah.
So unless they come up with hydrogen, and we have hydrogen fueling stations, currently my truck carries about 1,500 litres. Does vary. We had a couple that had 2,000 litres previously, so you could run to Perth and back. There's even trucks, Luke, that have what's called a belly tank.
Yeah.
So they have a big fuel tank underneath the trailer to run to Darwin or to Perth or whatever it is. Electric isn't going to catch that for a long, long time. Hydrogen might.
So they're trucks that kind of have the Bathurst 1000 drop tank. Remember the drop
I
tank?
had an XU1 years ago, mate. I had a LJ GTR, mate, and I put an XU1 fuel tank in it. And I was at a servo one day, and the bloke was watching me, and he's watching the gauge going round and round. And he said, "Are you filling the boot with that thing or what?" Because, of course, those days, a 17-gallon tank in a little Tirana was pretty unusual.
I was down at our local service station some years ago, and a beautifully done up XU1 Tirana had pulled up to fuel up, and it was idling. It was rocking. And I said, "What's under that bonnet?" And he had a 308 in it, which is what the Harry
Yes.
Firth actually experimented with. But it had all sorts of handling problems. It wasn't, the XU1 Tirana wasn't meant to have that much weight up the front, and it suffered terribly from understeer or oversteer or something. And the chassis wasn't quite built for it. But it was an idea. Hey, listen, we're going to move on. We've got some people to talk to this morning, but before we get to them, we got this message from Matt, and it reads, "I just pulled up for the night, and this is what I was met with in the truck parking." We've shown you the photos, and Kelsey will put them on our Facebook page. It shows a caravan in a truck stop. In fact, there's a motorhome and a caravan, it looks like. And there was another one as I drove in, several cars to my right. I didn't get a photo of them. I parked in the car park. I was grateful to be in a single semi. But he says it's a major issue. You've seen the photos?
I have, mate. I have. Not the first time I've seen similar things. And the only good thing in that regard, as you say, the caravan then parked with a motorhome. So they only took up one bay. Generally, it's worse. Generally, they park singly in each bay along. They won't share one. We do still have problems occasionally, even with truck drivers in little rigids that will park in a whole bay and take them up on their own. And in the service centres, where we have to use those facilities because we don't have access to any others. If you can't get a park in your truck, if you're out of hours, if you need the toilet, all of those things mean that you get in that position where you either park where you can if you're lucky, and he said he parked in the car park, and there's just not the facilities, Luke, and it's been a long and arduous fight, but I haven't given up, but I certainly haven't bloody made as many inroads into it as I like, and the only thing you can do, you can nicely. It's no good going over and abusing the Christ out of the site manager because he didn't park the caravans there. He didn't design the place. But you can say, mate, I'd just like to make you aware that the caravanners are taking up our spots. The only thing we can do is put a little bit of pressure on management to go do something more about it, build them better, give us more room.
Yeah.
But there's little else we can really do.
Yeah, frustrating. I can see it, but that photograph depicts it brilliantly. You can see these photos on our Facebook page, Luke Boner, that radio guy. Rod, Big Rig Online had a very interesting article on the NHVR, and they asked the question, what can NHVR officers do and what can't they do? The article goes on to say it's helpful to understand what you are lawfully required to do and what you must answer if a National Heavy Vehicle Regulator compliance officer interacts with you on the roadside. You've seen the article. Can you elaborate?
Mate, I actually haven't seen it. I only saw the headline. I didn't get to read it. And of course, the other part of it is it does compare what the NHVR officer can do with what a police officer can do.
Okay, well, I'll just tell you a little bit here. It says there's an important difference between what police officers can do and what the NHVR officers can do. And the article basically, Rod, focuses on what the NHVR officers may or may not do.
Yes. And look, we have to be compliant too. Now, I did go and spend some time. Our local pads are at Brocklehurst. And I rang at one stage. They were having a big operation. Now, this was then still RTA, so it was New South Wales controlled, but they were the road transport officers, which is what NHVR are. I rang them up and I said, is there any chance I can come out and do a bit of a story on what you're doing? The head bloke said, give me half an hour, ring you back. Ring me back. And he said, yes. He said, there's 3 rules. He said, you will be escorted at all times. If you do anything wrong, you'll be asked to leave. And we'll be sort of watching what you do. It's up to you. I said, no worries at all, mate. So I went out there, spoke to a couple of drivers. In the end, they just let me wander out, talk to anybody. Now, there was a driver there who had been fined and had his truck grounded at the time for not being registered. It was actually registered. They had to go and get the details because this was early in the morning. And they operated fairly and treated us nicely. And one of the blokes I spoke with said, the first words out of your mouth often, like any interaction, Luke, control what's going to happen. So if you jump out of the truck when they pull you up and say, you bastards shouldn't be here and leave me alone and picking on us poor truckies, well, then what's going to happen? If you get out and
his
say...
his back will be up immediately.
That's right. And you don't know whether the last truckie there was a nice bloke or the last truckie gave him a mouthful, so he's already got it, as you say, he's already got his back up. So you get out and say, good morning, mate. How's it going? What's going on? What's the problem? Or is there any problem? And you speak to them reasonably. I honestly believe that 9 times out of 10, you will get a better outcome than if you launch out. No matter how cranky you are,
you get more bees with honey, is the old saying.
That's the one, instead of vinegar.
So what power does an NHVR officer have?
Mate, I've got to look at that and see what I understand because, even in the days of police, they were able to put a dog in your truck if they were doing a drug search. And people used to complain about that. There's a whole lot of intricacies and there's a lot of truck stop lawyers who know what the law is or think they know what it is. There are blokes who have a really solid knowledge of the law and what you can and can't be made to do. So I'll do that as homework. I'll have a look, I'll compare it, and I will come back with that one for next week.
Okie dokie. Big Rig was also running an article on the proposed licensing scheme for operators and supply chain partners. Last month's column, it says, they certainly fanned the flames of those who agree or disagree with a road freight licensing system. They were saying it was a humbling experience to receive so many calls and emails from people who had constructive comments, feedback and support. Your thoughts on the proposed licensing scheme for operators and supply chain partners?
It's been brought up for many, many years. And the concern is you either make it so hard for people to enter. So at the moment, Luke, you could go and buy a truck tomorrow, put a sign on the door and start ringing people up, say, I want to cart your freight, and away you go. You've got a transport company. Now, you may or may not have knowledge of business. You may know what your costs are. You may be capable of driving and loading. You may not have a clue about any of those things, but you can start a transport company. So that's the base at the moment. And people get in, they don't understand their costs, they don't know what they should be charging, they undercut other people to get the work to start, and it starts that race to the bottom. The idea of a licensing system says that you must have a base number of things. It might be a good company record, it might be a business course, it might be whatever things, and that's where all that discussion goes around as to what that licensing would require, and you would have to have that before you started a transport company. So we either prevent people having a go or we make it that there's a certain level of knowledge and experience before you go out and start undercutting people to get work.
Okay. We'd love your feedback. LukeBonerRadioGuy@gmail.com. Send us a voice message and you can talk to Rod via this podcast because we love all of your suggestions. Rod, we got a message about Caden. Dear Luke, I know this may be a long stretch, but I called onto your show some time ago. I was the kid that was riding in the truck with his dad at the time. I hope this reaches out to you, but I just wanted to give you an update on how my truck life journey has been. I've started my diesel mechanic apprenticeship working on trucks and soon to obtain the truck license I've dreamt of getting. Caden's online. G'day, Caden.
Hey guys, how are we?
I'm good. Rod.
Mate, so good to hear from you. I do remember that night. It's those little things that you remember that sort of prick your ears and keep your conscience going. It's good to see that you're following the dream. And of course, a lot of truckie fathers have said to their kids, you go and get a education first. And diesel mechanic is one of those popular ones because, of course, then you get to fix your own truck as you go along. So you've started that, mate. I hope that's going well. Where are you going? You're doing, what is it, 4 years for a diesel apprenticeship?
Yeah, so you do your 4 years from start to finish. It's about 3 years of theory involved with the prac, and then you do another year of prac on top of that, and that usually sets you up. Set 3 heavy diesel commercial for trucks, and that pretty much means you can work on anything from trucks to anything really.
Yes. So how far are you into that, mate?
I'm almost finished my first year now. I did a Cert 2 in car mechanics through a little place called the Hunter Trade College. That sort of delayed the start on the truck side of things, but now I'm well and truly into the truck first year of the apprenticeship.
Okay, and you're about to go for your first truck license. So
in the next, we'll give myself a bit of a stretch here, 10 years. Long-term goal would be interstate because obviously working on trucks your whole life isn't great for the body. And, I mean, truck driving's by no means an easy feat, but it's definitely something I'd rather get to within the next 10 years. So it's hard to say. That's pretty much it, just interstate.
and that's the trouble, some people come in now and want to be in a 600 horsepower big jigger with all the lights and bells and whistles on it the first week, and if they don't get one, they're not happy. And obviously, there may be something happen along the line where you get to sort of jump up a little bit. But I certainly wish you all the best of success, mate. And it's really good that you rang us before, and B, that you're following that path, mate. And I hope you're still listening and keeping tabs on us.
I tried to. I'm on. Funny thing, I'm on the afternoon shift, but it usually leads into the morning. Every Tuesday morning, I might turn on the radio or turn on Spotify and listen in a bit.
Well, we go 24/7. You can turn our podcast on any time of the day. That's the beauty of podcasting.
Exactly. A lot of my colleagues, I don't think, like the idea of truck driving. A lot of them have seen it from maybe not the same perspective that you and I might have, Rod. Whilst they just think it's a long slog of hours and that's it. And you don't really get anything out of it. But if you look at it in the right way, every job has its pros and cons and stuff like that. While you might be losing out on time with certain people, if you don't really have those people to hang out with, you can be a truck driver and travel Australia, make heaps of money, and you're not spending anything at the same time. And you set yourself up pretty well. But a lot of them have seen it from a...
Yeah, it is nearly a young single man's job because once you get a family, it's certainly harder and it certainly puts that weight on you. And Luke, I talked to a bloke, ring around at Christmas, talked to some mates, and I rang a bloke and he'd been out of the industry 10 years and he said he still carried the guilt from the times that he wasn't there. So, Caden, mate, I certainly wish you all the best.
Give us a call a few months down the track. Send us messages and we'll keep an eye on you, okay? Rod, is there any parting advice you'd like to give Caden?
Mate, I suppose probably 2 things. Don't be afraid to ask. Most truckies are more than happy to help others. So don't be afraid to ask. If there's something you're not sure of, seek somebody's advice and take your time. Don't rush into anything and don't rush on the road because every time you do, you'll generally, it won't get the best outcome. And certainly if you, like anything, mate, to do with mechanical things, if you do it smoothly and you do it gently, it's going to last longer and it's going to treat you better. And of course, you'll have that background from being a mechanic as well.
Thank you, Rod. I appreciate that.
Good on you, Caden. And Caden in his message said that he found you an inspiration, Rod. So there you are.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your Saturday.
Rod, online we've got Kate, and she sent us a message. She said, would love the chance to talk with you and Rod on Truckie Tuesday. I drive a semi between Brisbane and Townsville for Vulcan Steel, hauling engineering and stainless steel, clocking 60 hours a week. My dad has been trucking for over 45 years. So I was raised old school in the passenger seat. She's online now. Kate, g'day. Where are you right now?
I'm just on my way to work at the moment, just going in to give my truck a wash because we've got the convoy for kids on in Mackay tomorrow. So
What's that about?
charity event that they run every year, have as many trucks as possible, doing a convoy from Serena to Mackay, ending up at the Mackay Showgrounds for variety.
Good on you. How much do you hope to raise?
It's only my first year doing it. I know that it's quite a big event here. I'm not too sure how much money they normally raise, but yeah, they do. They hold them all around the country. There was one up in Townsville a couple of months ago. Yeah, they hold them all over the place.
An experience for you. Let us know how it goes when we talk to you maybe down the track, okay?
How's the weather going for it?
Yeah, no, it should be a really good day. Our company, we don't have a lot of trucks. I'll be the only one on the road for Vulcan tomorrow, but we're hoping to grow it in years to come. We do have a couple of local trucks that run in Mackay, so it should be a good first year to see how things play out. But yeah, looking forward to it.
You said in your message your dad had been trucking for over 45 years and you were raised old school.
What did your dad do roughly, mate? You spent time in the passenger seat. Good that you've come up through the industry that way. And
yeah, so he's done a little bit of everything. So my earliest photos with him, there's one of me when I am literally just a baby. He's worked for UTO. The one where I probably have the earliest memories of actually being in the truck, he used to work for W&M way back. I would have been probably about 5 years old. He used to run meat from Mackay to Townsville for Woolies every day. We'd stop in Proserpine, Bowen, Ayr, and then Townsville, turn around, come home. That was his daily run. One of my earliest memories would be being led around the Woolies store by the manager at the time. I'd jump out of the truck when we were in Bowen and she'd take me around and let me grab a couple of things off the shelf. And whenever I'd walk back out to the loading dock, Dad would be like, "Where did you get all of that?" And she'd go, no, it's all good. Like, no, she's lovely. Don't you dare get up her. She can have her grapes and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, he's done a bit of everything. Hauled fuel for UTO, done general freight. He worked for, BM Webb in Townsville for quite a few years and has gone back a couple of times as well to work for him. He bought his own trucks back in 2007. I think we bought our first one. At one time, he had 3 semis on the road. They were working for Maclease and Kalari. And we also had a couple of pilot vehicles and MR truck doing specials out to the mines. Got out of that game a few years ago now, started working in town. He actually rolled a set of trailers in the Territory a few years ago, and that gave him enough of a scare to get off the road for a bit and to pack it in. And yeah, he's finishing out his career at the moment working for Emerald Carriers. 7 on, 7 off out of Mackay out to German Creek. And he loves it. He was meant to retire. I think he's put a retirement date in about 4 times now in the last 2 years and just doesn't end up giving it up. So, yeah, he's just about to pull up for good, but yeah, still going at the moment and still loves it. So
W&M was Wynnum and Manly transport. We used to have their trucks. When I was a boy, I worked at Fridgemobile, knew them from down there, and then they used to bring containers in years ago. And there is a Facebook page, Old W&M Drivers. So if he doesn't know about that, that's something of interest. So very quickly, mate, as I say, what's the best part of the job and what's the worst part for you?
For me, the best part would probably be just the freedom, being in control as much as you can, obviously, of my own day. Just doing my own thing. Obviously, I've got a schedule to keep. On a Monday morning, I leave Mackay around 2:00 in the morning to head down to Brisbane. I get in sometime in the afternoon, pull up for the night, and then Tuesday load in Cresmead and Carroll Park, and then turn around and get as far back up the road as I can. Get back into Mackay Wednesday, unload, reload, head into Townsville on Thursday, get back Thursday afternoon, and then I have a day on a Friday to load up the truck, wash the truck, do those sorts of things on a Friday. So, like, it's a pretty strict schedule that I have to keep. But in the same token, what I do love about it is I can do what I want with that time as long as I keep to that schedule. So I can listen to my own music, my podcasts. I can pull up when I want. If I don't feel like driving for an hour because I've just in a crappy spot when it comes to traffic where there just seems to always be people around me, I pull up for half an hour, just wait it out a little bit, then jump back on. The company's really good in that token where I sort of sort myself out a lot of the time.
And the bad part? What's the worst?
Worst, probably a bit of the same thing, is the schedule and
the best is the worst and the worst is the best.
Yeah, pretty much.
60,
so,
you said in your message,
like
you said in your message you're clocking up 60 hours a week. That's a big week, isn't it, Rod?
Mate, it is. Of course, years ago, owner-drivers worked often 100 hours a week, and that's how they survived. You can't do that now, and it's a better thing that we have more control and you can't be pushed, but it certainly makes a big week out of it. It's good that they look after you. So, mate, have you got anybody to help you clean the truck for the convoy, or have you got to do it all on your own, and what sort of truck do you drive?
No, so I pretty much going to be by myself today. Hopefully my partner, who also works for Vulcan, he's going to come in a little later, I hope, to give me a hand. I was meant to get the truck wash started yesterday, but we've got a bit going on stock movement wise. So the loading process took a little longer than expected yesterday. I've got about 21 tonne heading down to Brisbane next week in a whole mix of different stuff. So it took a little longer. So, yeah, he's hopefully going to come in sometime today and give me a bit of a hand. But, yeah, I drive a Volvo FH540 and I've got a reinforced flatbed triaxle trailer with a reinforced headboard and tailboard to haul the steel. So it's, I love the truck. I do have my open license, so I can drive Road Ranger and I have done so before. But, yeah, I don't really have anything bad to say about the Volvos or the automatic transmissions. I think they're pretty good trucks.
Are you treated differently from your male counterparts, or does everyone treat you the same?
Look, there is definitely points where you do get treated a little differently, but I've never let it affect me. So how I first started in the trucking industry was I spent 2 years driving for a local courier in Mackay. I started out in a 16-tonne flatbed and then also into a 14-tonne. Our company handles mostly engineering components and all mining stuff around town. So I got a lot of load restraint experience very quickly. There was a few people when I first started out that not that they didn't think that women could do it, but they had experience before with a few drivers that had come through that because they were women, they didn't think they had to, tie things down as tight as they could because they couldn't get it any tighter and all that sort of stuff. So there is definitely people still out there that do believe that women can't necessarily do it as well. But I've always just let my actions speak more than any words that I can speak.
Good on you.
Just get in, get it done. And I've never had a person who may have a bit of doubt about me seeing what I can do and seen me in action that have the same opinion after they see me. Don't really try and get too vocal about it. Yeah, I just get in and get my job done.
Well, I bet your dad's really proud.
Yeah, he is. Don't think he really wanted me to get into trucking like when I was younger, as a lot of truck drivers seem to do. They want something more for their kids. But I think now that I've gone out and done it and he's seen how happy I am and how well I do at the job, that, yeah, he's definitely proud.
Well, mate, I'll keep an eye out for you in Brisbane. I'll be there Monday, so and our depot's out round that way. I'll keep an eye out. Mate, I hope you go well at the convoy, and please keep in touch, mate. Buddy, you travel safe out there on the road, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to miss me. I'll be in a bright yellow Volvo. They stand out pretty well on the road, and same to you. Stay safe out there, and I'll keep an eye out for you as well.
Good on you, Kate. Interesting, isn't it? And her dad's been in the game for 45 years. She's clocking up 60 hours a week. It's a big week, Rod.
It is, mate, yes, and she's running up and down to Bruce, and let's hope that they make it safer for her over the next few years when they're spending that money out there, mate.
Rod, you got a question for us this week?
Mate, I suppose what I'd like to ask generally is what state has the best roads? But not only what state, why? It might be because of the design. It might be because you only travel one state. Not everybody travels the heap. But I think we need to take a poll as to what state has the best roads and why. And there's a little background to that, Luke. Yeah. Many years ago, as anybody drives down the road, you look at the roadworks and you think, geez, why does it take so long? Now, I asked people, probably 10 different people over the last 15 years, to write me a little concise thing on what it takes to build a road. Now, we're not road engineers. We look at it and we say, geez, why didn't they fix that faster? But I still can't get someone to do it. And I hope that if we had a bit more understanding, and yes, a little bit of education can be a dangerous thing, as my mate said at the DG course last weekend, but if we understood just a little bit of why it takes so long to build and why it costs so much, then maybe blokes would be a bit more understanding of roadworks, do the right thing. And generally, I've got a view that a couple of those remote estates have the better roads, but I'd like to hear other drivers' views.
Good on you, Rod. We want to hear from them too. Luke Boner, radioguy@gmail.com, or go onto our Facebook page. And if you want to leave us a voice message or an email, please do. And we'll make you part of Truckie Tuesday. Rod Hannafy, always good to talk. I'll let you keep going. Convoy for Kids tomorrow, which would be the 17th. And, it was lovely to meet Kate. And I've got to tell you, it was really, really good to meet Caden. And good luck to you, Caden. We'll keep an eye on you as well. Good on you, Rod.
Cheers, mate. Safe travelling to war.
Thank you so much for listening. We've got another episode coming up very, very soon. We love your feedback. We live off it. And you can do that. Luke Boner, radioguy@gmail.com. Have a look at our Facebook, Luke Boner, that radio guy. And please leave us voice messages because we react to each and every one of them. Stay safe. As Lawsy would say, be kind to each other. And my thought for the day, silence is golden, but duct tape is silver. The Bonafide Podcast, where we don't tell you what to think. We just give you something to think about.
But isn't silver worse than gold?
But it's nearly as good.
That doesn't make any sense.
Goodbye. Okay, now listen, before you go, a quick reminder, winter doesn't have to walk all over you. Get on the front foot. Nature Bees Power Pollen. It is your winter defense kit. More energy, immune support, nutrients, antioxidants, and it's all in one beautiful little golden capsule. And you don't need to swallow the capsules whole either. I mean, you can just sprinkle it on your breakfast, on your porridge, in your smoothies, in your juice. Power Pollen's sweet, nutty taste is both a flavour and an energy boost. And it's proof that it's just Mother Nature. You can grab a 6-month supply for $160, and they're throwing in an extra month and 2 bars of their famous pollen and honey soap for free. Comes with a money-back guarantee, otherwise I wouldn't endorse it, and I've been taking it since the year 2000. Click the link in the description and order yours today and say goodbye to winter blues. Nature Bee, helping you stay on top of winter and not under it. And a big thanks to Nature Bee for powering up another Bonafide episode. So let's wrap it up with one last bit of wisdom. Rodent related, of course. Don't lose sleep over things that scurry. Plug in Pestrol's rodent-free Max and let it do the worrying. It's $139, comes with a 100-day money-back guarantee and a 2-year warranty. They're good odds. Buy the Pestrol Rodent-Free Max today and also receive the in-car rodent repeller absolutely free. Valued at $50, free of charge. It's a limited time offer. And you have to use the code BONA, B-O-N-A. Links are in the description.